Eat, sleep, bet, repeat. That's how we get down on the opening line at EliteSportsBetting.com. I'll be your host, Benny Ricciardi, and today we're going to talk a little NBA basketball. Solid little 6-game slate we got here for Monday night in the post-Kobe era. That's why I'm rocking the yellow and purple cookie sweatshirt today to represent for LA. And as always, I got my boys coming in here with me. So we'll start off up top with the man who hit the big 50-1 winner yesterday in golf. Paulie, what's going on, buddy?
60-1. Thank you very much.
I to be honest, I got him at 45-1. So I watched the video late in the week. I didn't get it down in time, but we'll average it out somewhere in the 45 to 60 range is what you got. Not that I'm complaining with 45-1 either.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid result on the golf side, definitely. Even basketball side, it was pretty good in college basketball and NBA as well.
Yeah, and I mean, for those of you who don't know, these two guys are doing a golf podcast every Tuesday. It's coming up. It's called Up and Down. You can find it on the YouTube channel for now. Eventually, it'll probably be over on EliteSportsBetting.com as well. But, definitely make sure you check that out. Golf is a fun 4-day sweat when you bet on golf because, you got the first sweat to make sure you guys make it through the cut, and then you got the second sweat to see how they finish up on Saturday and Sunday. So always a good time when you're getting over there. So make sure you guys check out that video. It's on the same YouTube channel as this one that you're watching right now. And on top of having Paulie on here, I also got my man Frank coming in. What's going on here today on this beautiful Monday morning?
Yeah, I don't know about beautiful, but I'm looking outside here, but rainy and 40 degrees as always here. But it's good. Somber day yesterday. Be surprised at some of the guys that played yesterday. Some of the teams aren't a little emotionally drained today. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's interesting too. And I want to start off before we even start talking about any of the games or the lines here and ask you guys something that I was thinking about last night, right? So we all saw yesterday everybody giving their tributes to Kobe, taking a 24-second shot clock violation to start a game, taking an 8-second backcourt violation to start a game. That's 32 seconds of a 48-minute game that we're, basically counting as 0 points right now because neither team is taking a shot, neither team is trying to score. Everyone's paying their tributes. So if teams are going to do that again today, I mean, again, we're probably talking about, the average NBA game of possession is somewhere around 14 seconds roughly, a little more, a little less, depending on what team we're talking here. So we're really talking about giving up 2 or 3 possessions in this game. Does that mean that we should probably be leaning towards some of these unders here today if that's going to be something that, pops off? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
It just depends, right? Like what other effects are in the game because of it as well. I mean, as a data guy, I would say yes. Luckily, just by happenstance, I don't have any overs today, short slate, but we'll talk about that as we go. But yeah, I mean, you should definitely something to consider, unless of course guys are maybe a little more relaxed and maybe not playing as hard on defense because of the same issue. Like I don't know, I'm not sure.
I mean, we did have the Atlanta game yesterday with Trae Young, who was close with Kobe and his daughter. That game, I think, finished with about 260 points or something like that. It was like I don't even remember what the final score was. It was like 130-something, 110 or 1 whatever. Again, I don't remember what the over-under was, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't over 240 or something like that. So even if you were taking that same concept yesterday, it didn't always work out. I just kind of wanted to get, your ideas on that with what we see. You got anything on that, Paulie?
Yeah, so yesterday, this may kind of be an a-hole move or a-hole comment, but after the Kobe news got light, and then we saw the first game take the 24-second shot clock violation to each way for 48 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that basically knocks the first quarter over-under down about 4 points because that's 6.6% of the first quarter, roughly 4 points, right? So we basically bet first quarter unders in every single game. And they ended up splitting yesterday, but value-wise, you're getting roughly, the most of them were about 5-6 points. And we got in before the books dropped them down. So we're getting 4 points of value. They just didn't hit. But if you do it over the long run, you're going to make money in that spot. So the only thing is that I did notice a lot of books pulled the first quarter over-unders right before the games because they realized they were getting smashed by people. So I've already seen now that there's only really like 1 or 2 books out there that have first quarter over-unders today. And the ones that do kind of had them listed pretty low.
Yeah, and that was the other question that I was going to ask too. Is like if if you guys had noticed that the books had adjusted to it as well after everybody kind of saw what was going on. And
they did not adjust until they pulled them about 20 minutes, half an hour before the big rush of games tipped off yesterday. So the lines were out there for a good about two and a half hours after the Toronto game did the shot clock violations.
All right, so we're thinking basically based on what you're saying here is that the books have adjusted for him today, or they're just not offering them really to make up for it. Right?
There's a lot of books that don't have any NBA numbers up at all right now, honestly.
Interesting. And yeah, I mean, there's still people who are saying there's a chance they may cancel games today. Listen, if they didn't cancel them yesterday, I don't see them canceling them today.
No,
I don't really think that's going to happen. But you know what? If it does happen, all right, this video is.
I felt bad for a lot of the players in the court yesterday, but at the same time, it's like Kobe would have been wanting to play, right? Like he would have been like. So I kind of like. I understand both sides of it. Kind of sucked. Like initially, I was like, man, they should not be playing these games. But as they kind of went on, I was like, okay, it's funny because the pace. It was like the opposite of Kobe Day yesterday because the pace was way faster and the efficiency was way up. Like some of these teams like Atlanta, 1.33 points per possession, like crazy efficiency numbers yesterday compared to the season numbers for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I wanted to kind of get that out of the way. Obviously, we're all big basketball fans here, and the news of Kobe Bryant passing was something that affects us all because we're all in that age where we grew up watching Kobe play. Pretty much almost his entire career. I mean, I'm almost the same age as he is, a couple years younger. I literally remember watching him play for the first time in a high school basketball tournament. We were in an AAU tournament. We watched them play, and I was like, holy shit, I hope we don't have to play that team because there was nothing we were going to be able to do to slow him down. He was one of the greatest I've ever seen. Tragically lost way before his time. And you know what? It's, somber reminder to everybody that, every day is kind of a gift and you got to go. And speaking of gifts, we're going to give you guys some gifts here today. We're going to go through these games. We're going to get some of the edges and see if we can make some money so that we all feel a little better. And in honor of Kobe, every bet I make today is going to be $24. So 124, 24, 224, depending on what it goes, maybe 208.
24,000 for your bankroll.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Maybe 240, but I don't know about 24,000. We'll see. And again, we'll see what kind of edges we have. I don't know. If you guys got something good for me, maybe we'll have to dip into the piggy bank a little bit. So let's start here at the top. First game we're going to talk about, Cleveland against Detroit. We got a 220.5 over under here. Detroit favored by 6.5 points. Two teams that are projected a little bit above what their normal scoring is. It looks like Reggie Jackson is going to be back here on the Detroit side. I don't really see any major injuries here on the Cleveland side. Paulie, we'll start with you up top. Cleveland, Detroit, anything you're looking at here?
Yeah, nothing for me in this game there, Benny. Yeah, I'm within 1 point on the spread there, so no value.
All right, Frank, anything for you on this one?
Yeah, nothing me for either. I got it around 8. Bunch of guys kind of coming in and out, but I think Snell's the only guy that's actually questionable, and he's not going to affect the game too much. I'm seeing like 218.5, 219, 220. This number looks like it started at like 223. It's come down quite a bit. My numbers tend to agree. 219.5, 220 is my number. So nothing on this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of 218.5, 219.5s now. An open around like 222. So, if you missed the move at this point, I think we probably missed the move overall. Doesn't seem like anybody's really got a lot on this game, which is kind of funny because I don't have a lot on this game for daily fantasy either, even though it's a game where two teams are projected above average because two bad defenses that they're playing against. So let's move on to the next game. The next game, we got a lot of question marks here, so I can't imagine you guys are going to have too much of a opinion on this one. You got Orlando against Miami in this one. Opened at a 212 total. Miami favored by 4.5. I'm seeing 210.5, 211s in some places here. So the total has come down a little bit. It's really tough to discuss this game because right now we have Jimmy Butler, we have Kendrick Nunn, and we have Goran Dragic all listed as questionable in this one. I think Bam Adebayo was listed as questionable too, but I see him upgraded to probable. He's likely to play. But without knowing anything about those three guards, it could really change things around here. So, Frank, we'll start with you on this one. Orlando, Miami, any thoughts on this?
I'm not going to initially play anything. I do like the under in this game. I've got like 207, pretty big under edge, but that can change so quickly based on who's playing. If Dragic is out or something like that, it's going to affect the pace and also, his offensive value. Butler, Nunn, same thing. I really have no idea who's playing. So, it's unless I get that news early, I'm probably not gonna have a play on it. But if I was forced to play something now, I would lean to the under. But no, I'm gonna wait it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nunn and Butler both sat out this weekend. So you saw like 40 minutes from Tyler Hero and 30-something minutes from Duncan Robinson. And that's obviously a big difference when you have guys like Jimmy Butler in there and even Nunn, who's their starter, versus some of those backups there.
And the number looks like they're assuming at least one of these three guys might play, but I really don't know. If they're all out, I would play the under at the current number, but I really don't know who's going to play.
Yeah, I mean, my take on the situation at the moment is that Goran Dragic is probably going to wind up playing, which could mean that Nunn is going to be out. And Butler, I think, is he's truly a coin flip. I have absolutely no idea whether or not he's going to be in. Again, Paulie, a lot of stuff up in the air here, but anything you're looking at?
Yeah, so I'm looking to take advantage of some the injury news here, kind of like we did yesterday with the Denver-Houston game. We kind of beat the market there, and kind of figured out that Harden was going to sit yesterday ahead of time, about 4 or 5 hours before news broke, so beat that line. But in this one, where the current line is right now, that's the exact line I would have if all three guys were playing this game and healthy. So knowing that fact, I'm taking Orlando here, getting the 4.5, because if any of those guys sit, I'm getting an edge, and if all three guys sit, you're getting a huge edge. I make the game if all three guys sit, it should be -2 Orlando, and we're getting 4.5 if all three guys are sitting, because Miami's just depleted if all three of those guys are out. If 1 or 2 are out, we're probably got about a 2 to 3 point edge, but that's more than enough for me to be happy with the play there. And if they all play, we're sitting there pretty much a coin flip, which is not the end of the world considering we're kind of making a little bit of a speculative move here.
All right, so there is a little bit of value there on the Orlando side, depending on how this injury news works out. That's not a bad way to go about it. Do you have any lean on the over/under in this one?
No, not for me. It's pretty much right on, and we're not necessarily sure what the teams are going to do today in terms of the shot clock movement for the first 2 possessions out of it.
All right, fair enough. So let's talk about the next game here. The next game here is Dallas and Oklahoma City. A game that I'm going to be interested in watching. Maybe not the most maybe not the best game overall. You got two pretty decent defensive teams. Dallas on the road is actually favored by – it opened at a 1.5. I'm seeing it at a point right now. It opened at a 223.5 total. It's up to about 225. So we've seen it go up a little bit here. One piece of news that I'm not really sure how it's going to work out here is Willie Cauley-Stein. So Cauley-Stein was traded on – I think it was either Friday or Saturday where he was traded. He sat out the game on Saturday. He wasn't in town with the team yet. We don't know if he's going to play tonight. I'm assuming he does, but, definitely keep an eye or an ear out to hear any news. If he doesn't play, you're going to have a whole bunch of guys thrown in there. You're going to get Boban playing some minutes. You're going to get probably bigger minutes from Maxi Kleber. You're even going to see a little bit of Kristaps Porzingis playing center for them as well. So it could change things around depending on how Willie Cauley-Stein gets in there. And that's why I got you two guys here to tell me what you think that's going to do to the spread and whether or not it's something we should jump on. So, Paulie, we'll start with you here. Dallas, Oklahoma City, anything?
Yeah, Cauley-Stein for me is pretty much a neutral player and with no effect to the spread for Dallas here. So, and I'm right on market here, no edge at all, right on +1.
All right. Anything for you, Frank?
Yeah, Stein's pretty average all around. Probably a boost on to an underside here. I lean over a little bit, with him marked out. So if he were to play, it would bring my number down just a tiny bit. I've got 226.5. I'm seeing 225.5, 220 juicy 225s out there. I'm not going to play just because of that. Game from a spread perspective, I don't think Cauley-Stein is going to affect it that much. I also don't think that he'll play full minutes regardless. But
true.
I got the game at Pick'em. So yeah, nothing for me here. Pretty smart on market. But even if I had a little bit of an edge, I'd probably hold back just to see what happens and how they implement him into the rotations and things like that.
All right, fair enough. So, I mean, you guys both agree with the move then, that it went from 223 up to 225. You're thinking it's, so that's the right direction at least. But at this point, we probably missed it if you were looking to get money down on it. So let's talk about the next game here. We got Sacramento Kings against the Minnesota Timberwolves. This game opened with a 225.5 total. Minnesota favored by 3. Still seeing Minnesota favored by 3 here. Total come down 224.5, so a little bit there. Still seeing some 225s as well. Marvin Williams remains out for them. Marvin Bagley remains out for them, as well as Rashawn Holmes. So you're going to be looking at, like, I don't know, Nemanja Bjelica and, Dwayne Dedman getting minutes and stuff like that. Minnesota seems to be pretty healthy right now. You got basically everybody back. I mean, Towns came back. Napier's healthy. He's playing. So, they're basically at their full strength. So, Frank, we'll start with you here. Anything Sacramento, Minnesota you're looking at?
Yeah, we played the under here. Talked about it last week with Minnesota playing slower since Towns come back. So Towns is a big offensive boost to the T-Wolves. He's their best player. He plays a lot of minutes, but he's probably like a +3, +4 offensive guy. The problem is they've played a half second slower since he's come back. So my model, ever since we kind of picked up on that, the model's like the under. I've got it at 222.5 as my number, so a little 2-point edge there. I expect this number to keep falling, at least towards maybe 223. But with Towns back, Sacramento's playing about the same pace as they've been recently. Minnesota under, Towns back. I think that people are expecting, and I would say that it is the case that we should expect teams to play back towards their season average. But when you see a guy like Towns come back, who has the ball a lot, who is a big offensive player for them, and the numbers consistently a half second slower per possession for them, I would say that's more of a trend that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously always want to look at the team's averages and expect everybody to, regress to the mean, whether that's positively or negatively. But, you also got to understand that there are certain things that are going to change stuff. I mean, we talk about guys like Trae Young and Steph Curry all the time and how they affect the pace and the overs for their team. The same thing could work out the other way if you put in a guy like Towns, who is somebody who kind of paces the team down. You would expect them to be playing a little bit under. So, completely different team with and without him, completely different style and strategy with and without him. So, it does make sense to kind of look more at the recent numbers as opposed to the season-long ones. Paulie, anything you're looking at here, Sacramento, Minnesota?
No, nothing for me. I was pretty much right on the spread here at -3.
All right, so this is going to be a game that I have a lot of exposure to for daily fantasy. Both of these teams projected a little bit over their seasonal scoring averages here, and Sacramento getting the big pace boost against Minnesota. And without the big guys for Sacramento, I think a lot of scoring could happen on both sides of this game. So definitely going to be an entertaining one to watch, but nothing really that these guys are seeing. If you have a little bit of interest in getting in on the under, I would say do it now, because I kind of agree with Frank that there's a good chance this is going to drop a little bit. So try to knock in the best number you can as soon as you can if you're interested in it. So next game we have here, we got San Antonio against Chicago Bulls. San Antonio opened as a 1.5-point favorite, seeing 2 and 2.5 out there in the market now. 218 was the opening total, and I'm seeing it drop right now. 215.5 at the Westgate, 215.5 at MGM, 216 at Stations. Circa has it at 216 as well. So we're starting to see the under come in a little bit here. So, Paulie, anything you're interested in, San Antonio, Chicago?
Yep. So as you know, with it being a Chicago Bulls game, you're probably expecting me to be on the first quarter under here, right?
That would be my expectation, yeah.
So if you're looking at the under for the game, right, we would expect a first quarter under roughly around 54, right, just based on looking at the numbers, right? 53.5, right? Well, it's only posted up in a couple books, and I'm seeing about 51.5, which is pretty close to what the true number would be without any manipulation of the shot clock for the first 2 possessions. So if I'm not going to be betting this until I watch the first game at 7 o'clock today for like Cleveland and Detroit to see if they're doing the exact same thing as yesterday before I bet the Bulls game. Because if they don't do the shot clock, believe it or not, I'm not going to be betting the first quarter under today because there's just not enough value there. If there is, then there's about 3.5 points of value on the line, and I'll be betting.
All right, so interesting there. We're going to see if the teams keep paying tribute to Kobe. If they do, that would be a reason to expect the under, which is kind of what we talked about in the open here. So we'll have to see where that goes. And remember, not every book is going to have those numbers up, as Paulie was mentioning in the open, because of this whole situation with teams paying their tributes to Kobe at the beginning of games and basically wasting.
And there's a decent chance they might just if they see they may not post the Bulls first quarter runner until the Cleveland game tips off. and they see what happens. So it very well that 51.5 might be 49 by the time it gets posted back up.
All right. So, I mean, in that case, if you see that the teams are starting to pay tribute again, you would be willing to take the 51.5, but obviously.
Yeah, I'd be willing to take anything 50 and above.
Okay. So if you get a number 50 and above, and if they post it on whatever book you're playing on, Paulie said he'll be interested if it looks like teams are going to be paying tribute. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't lock it in yet. Wait till later on in the day. We'll see how that goes. You have anything on the sides of the total for the whole game here, or?
I do not. I make the Bulls pretty much getting +2, I think, here. So it's not going to be enough for me to make a move here.
All right, fair enough. Frank, anything for you in this one?
Yeah, my numbers like the Bulls here +2. Someone beat us to the under. I would have been playing that. Seems like maybe that's starting to catch on a little bit. I mean, we were seeing even probably seeing some first quarter stuff for them, 57, 58 at times, but now that's kind of getting down there, isn't it? So I've got the game at 216, so that movement's correct. I don't know about the eking out that possession, at the beginning, because the Spurs played yesterday.
Right.
So, my numbers like them, and from a narrative side, not that I put anything on the narrative side, but emotional game yesterday. The Spurs, even Pop was like, we lost, who cares, right? Like, I don't care. So emotional day for them yesterday, and then they travel today and play again. It seems like from a narrative side, the Bulls are in a good spot here. I've got it at Pick'em, so I'll take the 2 points of value on the Bulls. If you look at the Spurs' more recent games in the last 2 weeks, even in the games they've won, they've played everyone like inside 4 or 5 points. So I think the game will be close. And like I said, Spurs on a back-to-back, that's and on the road, that's like a 4.5 point disadvantage for them. So I could see this number coming in a little bit for Chicago here.
So let me ask you this question. On a neutral court with rest, you would probably have the Spurs, 5-6 points in this game?
Neutral court with rest. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can.
We got it, 2.5 right now?
I would have them as 4.5 point favorites.
Okay.
I think. Neutral court with rest, 4.5 point favorites.
All right, so that's why I kind of like the Chicago side as well. I think that, they're catching San Antonio at a rough time for San Antonio, and Chicago's actually been playing kind of decent lately. Or I should say Zach LaVine's been playing kind of decent lately, and everybody else is, kind of.
Yeah, and these teams are so close. I mean, not even from a record side, but, just on a talent level. Sure, you're getting the better coach on the Spurs side, but again, this is like letdown city for them after yesterday, considering everything that happened. Then you got to travel and play again today. I really like the Bulls. I wouldn't even be turned off by playing the money line here if you wanted to take that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel a lot better about Chicago if the big guys were healthy. The biggest problem they have right now, Wendell Carter being out for a while. Now Lauri Markkanen's added to him. So you're looking at guys like Cristiano Felicio and or Christian Feliciano, whatever the hell his name is, Luke Cornett, Thad Young. These are going to be the guys that are going to be playing 25, 30 minutes for them because they just really are very thin in the front court right now. So could be a really good game for LaMarcus Aldridge. And if you read my article later, you'll probably find out a little more why. So last game we got here, we got Houston and the Utah Jazz. So this is an interesting game here today. We already know that James Harden and Russell Westbrook are ruled out of this game. So, that's going to be a huge hurt for Houston right now. And whatever numbers you're looking at for them, it's obviously going to be, you're looking at two guys that are basically 30% usage guys that play 35 minutes a night and basically carry this offense. And now instead of the two of them being in there, you're going to look at guys like Austin Rivers and Eric Gordon and Ben McLemore and Daniel House being the ones that are trying to carry them. So when I first saw Utah favored by 10 points, I was like, wow, that seems like a lot. And then when I started digging into the injury report, it made a lot more sense. We're actually seeing that number go up. I'm looking at Utah 12.5 right now, and the over-under 222, 223, down a little bit from the 224 open. So, Frank, we'll start with you on this one. Anything on the Houston-Utah game minus the two big studs?
So I lean towards the under a little bit. The only thing that's hanging up here with me is that we have one game for Houston in which Westbrook and Harden hadn't played.
Mhm.
They obviously are both super fast players. That game paced out at 14.3 seconds per possession for Houston. If you look at their more recent games over the last week, the last 4 games, 12.9 seconds per possession. Their season numbers are 13.2 seconds per possession. So you're talking second half slower per possession, but it's only one game. So I'm not entirely sure how to handle that. I have been riding Utah unders as well over the last week or so. You know, they really slowed down, but you know, last week they really slowed down, and now, you know, this past week they've been more back to normal. But just on the Houston side, I mean, I'm sitting here watching this number crash a little bit on the board here as we speak. I just wouldn't expect Houston to be able to run like they normally do. So I've got it at 220. So it's just tough for me because I'm not sure if I want to pull the trigger yet on this under. Plus, you might be adding in the fact that they burn that first possession again. You know, I don't know. I would expect the under to keep coming here, just like I would expect Utah money, you know, and that did come along here. So it's such a hit to them with these two guys out. There's no way that they can run at a normal pace. I don't think so.
Yeah, and it honestly makes sense for them to slow the game down, because when you're the less talented team, you want to try to slow things down and make it less possessions. And obviously,
assuming that Utah's up, you know, double digits at the end, which they entirely should be, they're the last 4 or 5, 6 possessions, they're just going to sit on the ball. Right?
Yeah, and you're also probably going to have some of their second tier players in if this game gets as ugly as, you know, the spread and the money coming in kind of expects it to be. Paulie, anything for you in this one, Houston, Utah?
No, not right now. There's not enough edge for me. I got about a 1.5 point edge for Utah here. So this is going to be one I'm going to be sit backing and watching, and hope Houston makes about 5 threes in the first about 3 or 4 minutes, and we can get Utah around -10, -11 live maybe.
Yeah, so I mean, again, if you were looking to play this game, you know, on the sides, you probably missed the move here a little bit with it going up, and I wouldn't even doubt if it kind of keeps drifting a little bit here at 12.5. That's a lot of points. I mean,
it'll close around 14, I would expect, just because the public with it being a late game there. The public's going to be all over the fact that they're going to be out, so it's going to move a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, this just has like bullshit backdoor half-court 3 at the end written all over it, and I kind of don't want to have anything to do with it. And you really can't play the money line in this game either, because it's so high. It doesn't even worth it to put it in and try to find something else to parlay with it. So this is going to be one that I'm staying away from the sides, although I do have a little bit of a lean to the under, like Frank was talking about. That was something I was considering as well. Because let's face it, I mean, this could just end up being like a 110-85 game where, you know, Houston just gets blown out because they just don't have the talent to hang with Utah at this point too. So that's something else that I think could.
And having bet like two plays already here, I'm not sure if I'm going to add this game, but you know, everything the number says the play. I'm just a little bit nervous because I have a 1-game sample on what, you know, they did with put these guys out. So, but it is a pretty decent edge.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, this is a tough game to read because you got 2 guys that are, you know, 30% usage guys that are, you know, have the ball in their hands all the time and usually are the reason why this offense goes. They're still going to wind up with a lot of possessions, and it's going to be a lot of other guys now that are going to get those shots and are going to have the ball in their hands. So you can bet there's going to be quite a few Houston Rocket guys that are really, really cheap in my DFS right up here today. But it doesn't really help them out when we're talking about sports betting and whether or not they can win this game.
And the other thing, too, is like Utah this month has been the most efficient team in the NBA. So like they've really turned a corner by slowing down. So they've kind of canceled each other out, but they have played some like really high scoring games because they've been shooting the lights out really over the last month. So it's just there's a lot of factors here to think about, and you know, I'm not entirely sure how to handle it yet. But there's a decent chance I'm going to be adding that Houston under.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, when you have a situation like this where 2 of a team's best players are off, it's not something that you have a lot of data on because obviously it doesn't happen all that often, which is you know, why it kind of stands out as a big deal here. So that basically wraps it up. That's all 6 games that we have on the NBA slate here for today. Anything you guys want to add before we sign off?
No, nothing for me.
All right, so definitely make sure you guys check out. These guys are going to have that PGA show up tomorrow, Up and Down. You can check it out here on YouTube or over at EliteSportsBetting.com. We're also all going to have some plays going up this week for the Super Bowl props. It's obviously a very big gambling day. You know, even people who aren't degenerate gamblers sitting around looking at this stuff all day like us are making sure they got some money going down on the Super Bowl. You know, my mom and my dad were asking me what props I liked because they were going to run out to the FanDuel Sportsbook and make some bets at some point this week because that's what retired people do. They got nothing else to going on. They go gamble away my inheritance for one day. So hopefully they win. Hopefully we make some good picks for them. And you guys can check all those picks out over at EliteSportsBetting.com. So for Frank and for Paulie, this is Benny signing off on another episode of The Opening Line.